Here with Minnesota Moore's co-head football coaches, Matt Johnson and Marty Hoffmann. Well, we're recapping last week's home opener against Martin Luther and looking ahead to Westminster, first road test of the season coming up on Saturday. Coach Johnson, let's talk about the offense first against Martin Luther. There's some positives, but just 7 points coming across on the board. What are your overall impressions of how the offense looked against the Knights last week?
Yep, we did some good things offensively. I was happy with our effort. Certainly, I thought was really good. Unfortunately, the execution just wasn't there for us, Joe. Ended up having 3 red zone opportunities and only got scores out of one of those, and that's not a recipe for success. And kind of the worst part about it is that those other 2 opportunities, and both of them ended up in turnovers. And the reality is when you're playing a team like Martin Luther, you can't give them opportunities like that. They're well coached and their kids play really hard, good-nosed defense, and we turned the ball over in that situation. So it could have been a vastly different game for us, but unfortunately it just wasn't. And that's kind of been our focus this whole week in practice is talking to the young men about capitalizing on those opportunities. And when you have an opportunity to get a team reeling to put 7 points on the board, you have to. And at the very least, with John Hoff, our kicker, at least controlling the ball to put 3 on the board. He's dynamic in that regard if we're not giving the ball away. So, 7 points wasn't the output that we were looking for. If you were looking for a silver lining, it's that we did have opportunities. We just didn't capitalize on them. So we really need our kids to continue to grow and learn in those experiences and understand how important ball security is.
All right. Coach Hoffmann, defensively, you just gave up 14 points. A couple of great standouts. You had Shipley with 13 tackles. Joseph Lloyd also had double figures. Defensively, those 2 look like to be your leaders coming through the season.
Yeah, and we knew that a little bit with Shipley. I think we got him in a real good position where he can make plays, and he's a playmaker. So, I expect that from him, I guess. And then certainly the other guys as well. Again, with this game on Saturday, our big thing that we really preach to the guys, we only had 2 takeaways. We want more than that. Secondly, we're certainly a bit of a bend but don't break defense, but we can't bend so much that team goes 18 plays and 88 yards. At some point, and throughout that drive, we've been able to make a stop and get off the field on 3rd down. We had penalties. Obviously we lost a guy because of one of those penalties. Those are big plays, and versus this team like Martin Luther. We obviously can't have those, but I thought the kids, to echo what Coach Johnson said, they played hard. The kids gave me all that they had. We just at the end of the game just didn't execute well enough, and they kind of beat us with some of their past game stuff late in that game, and we certainly need to be better than that. So we'll get those fixed and move forward.
All right. Just recapping Martin Luther again. Again, this is such a young team coming in. I mean, there's definitely a lot more positives than you saw negatives, right, coaches?
Yep, it is. I think the fact that our youth, is maybe overplayed a little bit just because the fact of the matter is it's time now for them to step up. But the reality is, we have a lot of guys that did get their first taste of college ball, this past Saturday, and hopefully we grew from that as a team. To understand that if you take care of the ball, you play good, stout defense, you do things like that, you can be in games in the UMAC. It's a competitive league top to bottom from that regard. So, our guys need to grow, develop, learn from the mistakes that happen over the course of games and over the course of a year to continue to put us in a good position to win.
Yeah, I think there's no question there's probably more positives than negatives again. For a lot of these guys, this was their first college game. But certainly we had a lot of guys too that have a lot of college experience. And so, the expectation there is, when your number is called, you got to perform and you got to play. And to be in those situations, like we're talking about red zone turnovers and again, getting stops on defense, those are things that can be fixed, and so to be in the situation we're in, I think shows, and I hope our guys have confidence moving forward that, we can win these games and every week's going to be like this. So buckle up.
You have I think it's your longest road trip of the season coming up here right away. You're playing at Westminster on Saturday. How do the coaches look forward to being on the bus pretty much all day in preparation for the game?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, Joe. Because it is such a trip, and really, Westy and Greenville probably are the 2 farthest. that you have to mentally prepare for it, but you have to physically too. You know, we're leaving at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. We're planning on getting into St. Louis, where we're staying tomorrow night, somewhere around 6 p.m. You know, so it's a solid 12 hours in terms of bus time. That it's not a vacation though. You know, and we talked to our guys about that last night after practice. It's a business trip. You know, obviously there's going to be some fun on the bus, and we want that team camaraderie stuff to happen there, and we're going to eat right and sleep right and do things like that. But the reality is, we're going down there, you know, with one goal in mind, and that's to hopefully show up at noon on Saturday and kick some butt. So, but it is something that obviously is a little bit of a challenge for us, just because of the nature of the conference. You know, half of our teams are located at least 8 hours away. You know, Iowa Wesleyan's the closest that's at 8 hours. So, I mean, we got to prepare for it accordingly.
As a coach, I guess I always kind of like these road trips because it's a chance to really, and you know, even hopefully the players do too, but you kind of eliminate some of the distractions. You know, you're able to kind of get out. It's just you and them. You know, you're just with the guys. Obviously, there's a lot of team bonding that happens during those things, but like I said, I mean, we're on a bus and obviously we're together, and then we get off and we eat a buffet and destroy that, and then we're at a hotel room and we're doing walkthroughs, we're doing meetings, we're just doing football stuff, you know, and so I always kind of like these, you know, and yeah, maybe not necessarily on the bus ride, but certainly once we get there and get settled in, it's like Coach said, it's a business trip. So we'll see. I mean, this will be, again, a lot of our guys' first road trip, so we'll see how we respond to that.
Well, hopefully you'll have a good long ride back tomorrow after celebrating a win on Saturday against Westminster. That's head coaches Matt Johnson and Marty Hoffmann discussing the trip at Westminster coming up on Saturday at noon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.